So, when you hear the word psychology, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For a lot of people, it's probably therapy, right? Or maybe trying to figure out why people do the things they do. And look, you're not wrong, but that's just one tiny piece of a much, much bigger puzzle. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and really get into what psychology is all about.
Okay, let's just jump right in with something we've all heard before. Imagine your best friend moves across the country. You've got two classic sayings to describe what might happen next. One is, out of sight, out of mind. But then there's also distance makes the heart grow fonder. You know the ones I'm talking about? They're both part of our collective common sense.
So, which is it? I mean, they're complete opposites. And the one you end up believing probably just depends on what actually happens, right? If you drift apart, you'll nod and say, yep, out of sight, out of mind. If you end up missing them like crazy, you'll say, see, distance does make the heart grow fonder. And that right there, that's the biggest problem with relying only on common sense.
This is exactly where scientific psychology comes into the picture. The whole point is to get beyond these kinds of after-the-fact, I-knew-it-all-along explanations and find a more reliable way to understand ourselves.
And here's the absolute heart of the difference. Common sense is all about hindsight. It's fantastic at explaining why something happened once it's already over. But psychology as a science, it has a much bigger goal. It's looking for the patterns, for the principles that can help us predict how people might behave. It's a huge shift from just explaining to actually predicting.
Okay, so if psychology isn't just a collection of popular sayings, then what is it, really? Let's put a formal definition on the table.
All right, here's the textbook definition. Psychology is the science that studies three main things: our mental processes, our experiences, and our behavior. And importantly, it looks at how all of this changes in different situations or contexts. Now, that sounds a little academic, so let's break down those three pillars.
First up, you've got mental processes. This is basically everything that's going on inside your head that nobody else can see. When you're solving a math problem, trying to remember a person's name, or just daydreaming, those are all mental processes. They're the invisible gears turning in our minds.
The second pillar is experiences, and what's so fascinating about these is that they are totally subjective. The feeling of pure joy, the ache of sadness, that feeling of awe when you see something incredible, these are deeply personal. My experience of red might not be exactly the same as yours, and psychologists are deeply interested in these internal states.
And pillar number 3 is behavior. This is pretty much anything and everything we do. Some of it is overt, meaning stuff other people can see, like laughing or running, but a lot of behavior is also covert or internal. You know that feeling when your heart starts hammering in your chest before a job interview? Yeah, even though no one can see it, that's a behavior too.
Now, here's a really crucial distinction we need to make. The brain and the mind. Are they the same thing? Well, not exactly. The brain is the physical organ, right? It's the hardware. The mind, though, the mind is the system that sort of emerges from all the brain's activity and our interactions with the world. I love this analogy. The brain is the piano, but the mind is the music. They're completely connected, but they're not the same thing.
To really get a grip on what psychology is today, we have to look at how it's evolved. I mean, the field has gone through some absolutely massive changes in a pretty short amount of time. So let's take a quick walk through its history.
Just look at this timeline, and you can see how the focus just keeps shifting. It really kicks off as a science in 1879 with Wilhelm Wundt, who was trying to break down the mind into its most basic parts. But then, along comes Sigmund Freud, who says, whoa, you guys are missing the biggest part, the unconscious. Then, a total 180-degree turn. Behaviorists like John B. Watson come in and say, forget all that invisible stuff. If we can't see it and measure it, we shouldn't study it. After that, humanists like Carl Rogers brought the focus back to personal growth and experience, which really helped set the stage for modern cognitive psychology, where we're now looking right at the brain itself. What a ride!
So, all that history brings us to today. And now, psychology has branched out into pretty much every corner of our lives. It is not just some academic thing you study in a classroom. It is a practical science that's at work all around us every single day.
I mean, just take a look at some of these branches. The field is huge. It's so much more than just therapy. You've got social psychology, which looks at how we're influenced by groups, developmental psychology, studying how we change throughout our entire lives. There's even sports psychology, dedicated to helping athletes perform at their peak. Psychology has worked its way into almost every part of modern society.
And that's really the key takeaway here.
All these different fields are trying to provide real, tangible solutions to real-world problems. Whether it's finding better ways to teach our kids, creating healthier workplaces, tackling issues of social justice, or just helping us understand ourselves better, psychology gives us tools to improve our lives.
I think this quote from Norman Cousins just captures it perfectly. This whole effort, this ongoing journey to understand the incredible complexity of our own minds, our thoughts, our feelings, our behaviors, it really is one of the greatest adventures we can be on. So, I'll leave you with a question to chew on. From the way advertisements are designed, to how you learn a new skill, to your relationships with family and friends. Now that we've peeled back a few layers, how does psychology shape your world?